Those crazy video game journalists. What are they up to? What they're upset about? Because today they are very angry. You can see the anger in the force. Game journalists are sitting on their chairs, wiggling their tushy, going... Like, what happened? A private company did whatever it wanted. Who do they think they are? Do they think they are Twitter? Do they think they are Facebook? Only social media is a private company that can do whatever they want. Video game developers do what we want. That is why we are video game journalists. We put ourselves into this position so we can have power and authority over them. And look what they are doing. These ungrateful little developers. So in the recent article, it seems that the gamer is bewildered, it is astonished. It cannot believe it. It's like seeing a leprechaun that a company made a brawling game and it's filled with white people. He took the 23andMe test, gave them the swab, and then it's not with the correct pedigree. They do not have the heritage for this. The correct blood does not go into their veins. How dare they? What is this astonishing predicament? Do they not know who their parents are? Do they not realize the damage they do to the fabric of the universe? Can you imagine if you actually send this article back in time like 5 years ago? No, seriously, like it would be a Sunday night skit or something. Like, did these people completely go insane? Has the world gone insane, actually? Can they publish literally anything today? Like just anything, right? Whatever. You know, I just need to stop and wonder how this ideology managed to take hold. You know, at least Nazi Germany didn't have the pretension that they're not racist. Like, they didn't pretend not to be racist. But like, now it's full-on racism. Like, they just changed the definition, so it's fine, is it? I mean, are you telling me that if in Japan, because it's about cultural appropriation, by the way, but are you telling me that in Japan, if Japanese people made a video game in the West, and it's about Americans and Westerners, and they don't hire a single American to do it, is it a problem? Are you upset? No, you're not, right? Like, why would you be? What? I don't get it. Why would you be upset? Makes absolutely no sense. But, yeah, no, like, there's journalists blowing a gasket in the West because there's developers who made a game which features martial arts, and they're bewildered. It's like, why is this a thing? So, apparently they talk a little bit about the game in the beginning, but then they say, Sifu looks set to be a game that's very much in the style of the fighting game Absolver, where you can develop and customize your own fighting stance, picking and choosing specific melee attacks against encroaching enemies. And they even quoted Bruce Lee on Twitter because apparently these racist white developers, do you know what they did? Oh my god, they watched Bruce Lee movies when they were a kid. Kind of what I did. I used to watch a lot of Chinese kung fu movies. It used to be a genre. It was really cool back then. And they loved it so much they thought they could make a game out of it, but they didn't know they're not allowed. Not legally, but culturally. So, they also complained about Ghost of Tsushima. By the way, you know what's interesting about Ghost of Tsushima? You know how Japan made Dark Souls, and that video game is heavily inspired from European medieval fantasy? I mean, you get dragons, you get like the medieval armor from Europe, you get like the medieval sword and shield, right? It's not necessarily inspired from Japan. It doesn't have like the katana and stuff. No, it's like clear inspiration from European culture. Do you feel offended? Like, do you mind? No, like, everyone loved that game. Do you want to know something interesting? Tsushima, which was also made by Europeans, is very popular in Japan. Like, the Japanese people absolutely love Tsushima. Now, what's interesting is that you had some American Japanese on Twitter being livid about it, and they got even more livid, they got even more upset when Japanese people from Japan told them to shut the fuck up. And they were upset that, oh my god, like, Americans shouldn't bypass us and go to the Japanese people for blah, blah, blah. It's like, shut up. Just shut up. Just be quiet and play the game, because you like it. You like the game, don't you? You really love the game. You absolutely love it. So shut the fuck up and play it. Christ. I'm talking about Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know about Sifu. I don't know if it's a good game or not. But it's absolutely ridiculous that they're complaining about the heritage of the people who made it. What? They're not aristocratic enough for you. Blue blood doesn't run in their veins, huh? They also complained when Friends, the TV show, had a recent thing where all of the cast members got together. It was a beautiful thing. Like, people who watch Friends, which again is a TV show popular across the world, and you get to see the actors getting together again. It was very bittersweet. Most of them are old. What did the journalist said? Too much whiteness. Can you imagine? Like, I mean, if you don't like it, why didn't you watch Prince of Bel-Air? I mean, it was airing on the same time with Friends. Just because a show doesn't have diversity doesn't mean there's not diversity on another channel or on another show. Like, not all shows need to be the melting pot. I'm just saying, it's okay if one or two are. Like, well, whatever. You know, like, unless everything is exactly on the message, then it's a problem. So they go on and they say that just like Ghost of Tsushima, look at this, was made entirely by a team of white developers, even its consultant. Even the consultant, can you imagine? Even the consultant was white. Oh, Dios mío. Ben Colusi, a martial artist they hired for the choreography, the first fights in Sifu, and who also doubled up as Sifu's cultural consultant of sorts, is a white martial artist who's well versed in Pak Mei, one of the more aggressive forms of Chinese martial arts. According to a behind-the-scenes video, Colossi also shared that he had traveled to China and picked up the martial art style himself, while the studio was also asked Colossi to make sure its game is Wuguan, the training halls of martial arts, is authentic. Their attention to detail is admirable in an industry that only does the bare minimum. Are you literally saying that a bunch of white people have more attention to detail than a corporation that just panders to diversity? So you're basically saying that these people actually made the game and poured their soul into it. They poured their heart. Why? Because when they were kids, they loved seeing kung fu movies. And they wanted to have that into the game. Just like Ghost of Tsushima. You have the people that had an interview, the game developers, and they were like, we really wanted the katana to be the center of this video game. We wanted to see exactly how the katana slices through things, and we wanted to make it as realistic as possible. And what we noticed is that swords fights, they're very fast. And so like people who genuinely have love about what they're doing. It's called passion. Yes, passionate people, regardless of race, make good shit. Soulless corporations cannot put out good video games. I wonder if the journalist figured this out after writing this, but who knows? Maybe a cogwheel managed to spin in his head. Like, I genuinely don't understand, because like they don't even articulate why is it bad if a studio is entirely white at this point. Like, it doesn't have diversity. Okay, and? I'm really curious, like, what comes after the and? Like, what's the problem? Like, it was just white people who made the video game. And they didn't have diversity. And like, this is what bewilders me about this ideology. Let's take John and Bob as an example. And they're both from California. They both vote Democrats. They both support Black Lives Matter. They're like as progressive as humanly possible. Now, these two individuals, Bob and John, start a company. The moment they started the company, they become racist. Why? Because they don't have a Chinese person there. So what they need, like Bob and John, in order to get away from being racist, they need to hire a white woman as an HR consultant. They also need to hire another white woman as a diversity officer. And then they need to hire another Chinese guy into the company. Because otherwise they're racist. Because they don't have diversity. How did this ideology manage to take hold? And why is no one wondering how much money is being laundered to these additional positions that require to be in the company? So that people don't get to call you a racist. Like, you just can't make your own video game, because otherwise you get criticized if you just make your own video game. Just minding your own business. Doing a video game. No one is stopping anyone else from making video games. Like, there's literally nothing stopping people from Asia forming their own company and making video. In fact, they do that. It's in Japan. And what's even funny is that journalists get upset when people watch anime. It's like, well, I'm supporting diversity. Like, why would I buy stuff from California now? I'm buying stuff from Japan. I'm pro-diversity. Anyway, right, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.